The newly found pages of undertext date to the 6th century CE and contain the old Syriac translation of Matthew 11:30 through 12:26.
A Syriac manuscript hidden in a desert monastery shocked the world by describing a missing year of Moses. It told of a sudden vision, a hidden valley, a broken tablet, a night of fire, and a desert trial. Each moment felt dangerous and powerful, leading to a mystery that could change everything forever. The hidden desert text and the silent wisdom. In the mid-19,000s, Bedouin shepherds in Egypt found sealed clay jars with ancient scrolls written in Coptic, a language of early Christians. These scrolls contained gospels about hidden wisdom and teachings of Jesus not in the Bible. Scholars found the messages meaningful and powerful with a universal significance. However, the most important story is not just about the well-known discovery near Nag Hammadi. There was another discovery not as well known and kept secret from the public. In a different part of the desert, near the ancient ruins of Qumran, a small team of researchers found a text unlike anything they had encountered before. This parchment was very delicate, with a worn surface and fading ink. The letters were almost completely faded due to time. Despite their faintness, the words still held significant meaning. In the fading letters, researchers discovered words believed to be spoken by Yeshua, also known as Jesus. These words were unique, blending Eastern mystical traditions with Western divine revelations. The message was seen as transcending culture, religion, and borders. Many questions arose regarding who had hidden the book, why it was buried far from civilization, and what knowledge it contained that was considered too risky for public view. As the mystery starts to unravel, it's crucial to think about the significance of deserts in spiritual history. Deserts have always been special places for enlightenment and self-discovery. Many prophets, mystics, and spiritual seekers journeyed into the desert seeking the truth. In the desert, Moses heard God's voice. The Essenes, an ancient Jewish community, lived in the desert, focusing on purity and light in anticipation of the Messiah. Jesus also spent 40 days in the desert, where he encountered silence, temptation, and explored his innermost being. This brings up an important question. Could the hidden book have been concealed by desert mystics? Did they truly comprehend Jesus' purpose? Some experts have suggested that early Christian teachings were more mystical and spiritual than what later became official church doctrine. Dr. Elaine Pills of Princeton University argued that Jesus' original followers believed something different from common beliefs today. According to her research, early believers thought enlightenment came from finding the divine spark within themselves rather than worshiping Jesus as a distant figure. The text in the desert seems to reinforce the idea. Broken lines talk about a light within light. They depict a kingdom that is not in the sky or on the earth, but within each individual. This concept reflects the core of Hermetic philosophy, which asserts that what is above is also below, and what is inside is also outside. It implies that Jesus might have been indicating a universal truth about unity, connection, and the interconnectedness of all things. It implies that he was leading people towards inner understanding rather than external control. If this concept gained widespread acceptance, the effects would be significant. If individuals genuinely embrace the belief that divine essence exists within each person, many established systems based on external control would be disrupted. The unveiling of this book wouldn't just question conventional religious organizations, it would initiate a profound shift in human consciousness. It would enlighten individuals to the concept that they possess a divine spark within themselves. It would promote a fresh perspective on life, spirituality, and meaning. Another aspect of this enigma involves the individuals who discovered the book. Reports indicate that the team who unearthed the manuscript may have done so without proper authorization to examine it. Instead of making their findings public, they were instructed to take it directly to a secluded monastery. Some sources claim that the document was eventually moved to the Vatican archives, where it is said to be kept away from public view. There are also theories suggesting that a duplicate of the text was clandestinely made and given to a covert faction that safeguards the forgotten teachings of Christ. Many mysteries still remain unsolved due to these reasons. What hidden truths lie beneath the sand in the desert? What valuable wisdom has been lost over time or suppressed by those in authority? What information was once known but later concealed and eventually forgotten? the mystery doesn't stop here. The next part of the journey will examine what's inside the book. It will explore the lessons it contains, the stories hidden within its delicate pages, and the profound message that could reshape people's beliefs about God, the world, and their role in it. The desert's silence hides numerous secrets, and this book might be one of the most significant secrets of all. The secret light within the heart of all things. The ultimate truth of this journey is revealed in the final revelation, which may uncover the very essence of existence. Picture yourself holding an ancient, worn manuscript that shows signs of age and mystery. Despite its wear and tear, the faded ink still seems to speak across centuries. When you start reading the text, you'll notice something extraordinary. Unlike the usual Gospels, the words are filled with rich symbols, cosmic imagery, and teachings that bridge heaven and earth smoothly. The voice behind these words feels both gentle and powerful, exuding a sense of knowledge rather than mere belief. The message starts with a surprising revelation that completely changes everything. Instead of heaven being portrayed as a distant place in the sky, it is described as a shining light that resides within each person who remembers where they come from. This new idea completely changes how we see the divine. It tells us that God is not far away, unreachable, or separate from us, but is alive and present within each person's spirit. The text portrays Jesus not just as a prophet, but as someone who is a master of consciousness. He teaches that salvation doesn't come from outer rituals, but from awakening the divine awareness within ourselves. Numerous academic experts, including Bart D. Ehrman and Elaine Pagels, have noted that some early Christian texts were not included in the official canon because they depicted Jesus in a way that empowered individuals rather than institutions. The Gospel of Thomas, found in the Nag Hammadi texts, teaches that the kingdom is within each person and that true wisdom comes from self-awareness. The recently discovered desert document reinforces this idea and elaborates on it with great clarity and depth, repeating the same key message in a more detailed and illuminating manner. The manuscript includes a powerful section where Jesus talks to his closest disciples before his arrest. He tells them that the true path is not up in the sky, but right beneath their feet. Jesus also explains that they shouldn't look for light in stone temples as it shines from within their own eyes. He emphasizes that the Father's kingdom is not to be built, but remembered. Jesus' teachings center on remembering and awakening, suggesting that humanity's main goal is not to find God externally, but to realize their connection to divine consciousness within themselves as they experience life as humans. The great controversy begins here. Teachings like these, if shared openly, could have threatened religious power in ancient times. The early church focused on creating unity through structure, rules, and authority. However, mystics believed in freedom through direct experience of the divine. This conflict led to the rejection and destruction of many writings labeled as dangerous. It is possible that a secret book of Jesus may have been among these lost works. Historical evidence shows that early church councils decided which texts would shape official belief. Many other writings were hidden, destroyed, or condemned, disappearing from public view. However, despite efforts to suppress the forbidden teachings, they continued to exist in whispers. Throughout the years, individuals like mystics, alchemists, and secret spiritual groups kept fragments of this wisdom alive. Their aim was to safeguard what they believed to be the original knowledge that once illuminated the deserts of Judea. As the mysterious desert manuscript is further examined, its language takes on a more symbolic and mystical tone. It references concepts such as the 7 mirrors of the soul, 3 veils of perception, and a gate that transitions the seeker from physical form to spiritual light. Many scholars interpret these symbols as representing different spiritual stages, which help individuals move from ignorance to enlightenment. These concepts are similar to teachings found in various spiritual traditions worldwide. The path to enlightenment in Buddhism, the journey through different spheres in Hermeticism, and the mystical journey through the tree of life in Kabbalistic thought all share a common theme of moving away from illusion and toward truth. The Desert Book places Jesus in a broader spiritual context, not as the creator of a new religion, but as a teacher of a universal science of the soul. This perspective offers a clear roadmap to self-discovery that transcends cultural, geographical, and religious boundaries. The meaning of this message is very important. If it is indeed true, then the real message of Jesus was not meant to create divisions among people. Instead, it aimed to bring humanity together, not under a specific organization or strict beliefs, but by recognizing the divine essence within each individual. The passage goes on to make a powerful spiritual declaration. It suggests that once someone grasps the concept that Jesus and God are one, they will also understand that they are interconnected with Him as well. It teaches that the same life force that sustains one person sustains all, and that the idea of separation is only perceived by those who are spiritually unaware. This one idea could completely change many years of theological thinking. It is similar to the mystical belief in non-duality, which is the understanding that everything is connected through a single eternal consciousness. This concept is also present in Hindu Advaita Vedanta and in Sufi philosophy, proving that the same truth has been seen in various cultures and time periods. The Desert Book seems to combine these spiritual beliefs, demonstrating a unified vision that transcends differences and breaks down barriers. This brings us to the last important question that still needs to be answered. Why was such a beautiful, unifying, and powerful message kept hidden? Why would the close followers of Jesus, including his earliest disciples, feel the need to hide teachings that focused on unity, love, remembrance, and inner light? The secret book and the quiet truth within the soul. Some historians think that a few of the first followers of Jesus, who may have been part of the Essenes or Gnostic groups, decided to safeguard certain important teachings. They thought that these spiritual truths were too valuable and delicate to be controlled or wiped out by powerful groups. The Roman government and the Church were gaining power during this time, which posed a threat to beliefs that didn't agree with the established doctrines. So these early believers decided to retreat to the desert for safety. The vast and quiet desert provided a safe haven for them. They carefully placed their sacred texts in the ground in the peaceful and infinite expanse. They didn't hide these truths to make them disappear, but to protect them until people were ready to accept them wholeheartedly. Their intention was to safeguard, not to make them vanish. They looked forward to a time when these teachings would be understood and appreciated. Maybe that time has finally come. Today, humanity is at a crucial moment where many people are seeking spiritual fulfillment. At the same time, we live in a world filled with advanced technology and constant distractions. There are countless messages and voices clamoring for attention. Despite all the noise, people still yearn for peace, truth, and clarity. It seems like we are at a crossroads where spiritual needs and modern chaos intersect. The ancient book coming back doesn't mean going back to old religions, but more of a chance to find a truth that has always been in our souls. It's not asking us to regress, but gently urging us towards something eternal that was always there. It proposes that what we've been seeking outside of ourselves has always been inside us. The sacred text takes you on a journey deeper into passages that talk about the creation of the universe, the divine energy that keeps all living things alive, and the hidden words that show the true essence of the soul. What comes next is said to be the most important revelation. It will question not just people's beliefs about Jesus, but also their beliefs about themselves. This questioning is not harsh. It is gentle and kind, yet very strong. As academics delved further into the text, something extraordinary started to occur. The book began to seem less like a record of history and more like a reflection of one's inner self. Each section appeared to be meticulously crafted, not just to inform, but to subtly change. The words didn't just stay in the mind, they reached the heart. They evoked something old and recognizable, like a dormant memory in every person. The more scholars analyzed it, the more evident it became that this was no ordinary gospel. It was a divine message intended not for the masses, but for those prepared to awaken. The writing talks about the universe in a way that makes it feel both huge and personal. Instead of showing creation as something split apart, it portrays the universe as a flow of divine awareness. It describes life as a vast sea of light, where each person is a small part of that same divine origin. In a very deep part of the text, it explains that before the stars existed and time started, there was a quietness. Inside that quietness was a word. The word wasn't said out loud. It was felt within. It was explained as the light that recognizes itself through the perspective of all living creatures. These concepts are similar to mystical beliefs in various religions. The Hermetic teachings suggest that the universe came into existence through the vibration of the divine mind. Hindu philosophy states that creation started with sacred sound and cosmic resonance. The Gospel of John indicates that God and the Word are one. The desert text combines these ideas into a coherent understanding of creation. It presents creation as a continuous process of divine awareness manifesting through form and life. The text goes on to describe 7 important steps in the process of spiritual awakening. Each step is seen as a natural progression of the soul's journey. The initial step is known as the shadow of the world, where individuals feel isolated and abandoned by a higher power. This phase is characterized by deception and a lack of connection to one's spiritual origins. The second phase is known as the illumination of the past. During this time, the soul starts to sense its connection to a higher power. It is a gentle awakening, a subtle internal nudge indicating that life is more than just fear, loneliness, and emptiness. The third phase is referred to as the shroud of flames. This phase symbolizes cleansing, as old self-perceptions gradually fade away. The fire of comprehension starts to break down the false sense of self, clearing space for reality. The book uses poetic language to describe how the soul goes from not knowing much to gaining insights. It talks about finding direction and achieving a sense of completeness. The journey progresses from being restricted by human faults to having a deeper connection with the teachings of Christ. In the later stages, the soul is described as being united with the divine and shining brightly with its own inner light. The 7th stage is known as returning to silence and is the most mysterious. This stage implies that there is an eternal stillness beyond light, sound, and creation. This stillness is considered the origin and end of everything. It suggests that to reach the Father, one must surpass light and enter an endless silence. This concept is profound and gentle. The teachings are not just lovely, they are also very demanding. If they are accurate, they completely alter everything humanity has learned about God, life, and existence. God is no longer viewed as a faraway king in the sky. Instead, God is seen as the fundamental life force residing within every individual. Salvation is no longer a prize for following rules. It is seen as the inherent understanding of oneness. The wisdom discussed has profound effects on how humans understand things. Dr. Marvin Muir, a well-regarded translator of ancient Christian texts, believed that such writings were not meant to establish organizations, but to enlighten individuals. This hidden book appears to support this belief, highlighting that its goal is not to gather followers, but to enlighten individuals. It encourages people to recognize that the divine has always been a part of them. The text talks about a disciple named Jude and how awakening works. It says that when a blind man realizes he was never truly blind, he sees a world that was never hidden. Similarly, those who awaken start to see life clearly. They no longer fear death because they realize life does not end, it just changes form. Immortality is seen as a continuous stream of awareness, not just the survival of the physical body. Death is not seen as the end, but as a transition from one form of divine dreaming to another. One of the most profound questions to ponder is whether this could be the main message Jesus wanted humanity to understand: a clear light for the world. Religion, politics, and empire have historically operated by instilling fear and creating divisions among people. They have attempted to control individuals by making them feel insignificant, isolated, and helpless. Fear has been utilized as a form of control, while separation has been used to create barriers. However, there exists a truth that transcends fear and is more powerful than any barrier. When a person discovers the divine within themselves, they cannot be controlled. They experience true freedom and cannot be influenced by authority or societal systems. Their spirit cannot be contained. According to legend, the people who safeguarded the sacred book in the past were aware of the danger of revealing its deepest truths. They believed that powerful rulers who ruled with fear would attempt to destroy the truth if it was exposed prematurely. Therefore, they decided to safeguard the truth by encoding it in symbols, using metaphors, and shrouding it in mystery. Only those who were initiated and had open hearts and awakened minds could comprehend the hidden meanings. One of the prettiest pictures in the book describes the 7 mirrors of the soul, which are believed to correspond to the 7 energy centers of the body. These centers are known as chakras in Eastern mysticism. Each center reflects a part of divine light and holds a key to inner awakening. The book doesn't see these mirrors as abstract concepts, but as living parts of every person, ready to be discovered. Another strong symbol in the book is the Gate of Fire, which represents a transformative awakening of the heart rather than physical burning. It signifies the rise of divine compassion, the melting away of illusion, and the realization of one's true nature. The path of light described in the book is not a physical journey, but a process of consciousness, a gentle remembrance of our true selves, and a return to our inherent divine nature. One of the caretakers of the ancient manuscripts left a profound message in the margins. The message advises to keep the knowledge hidden from those who are afraid of it until the world is prepared for a fresh start. This was done out of kindness, not with ill intentions. The message was meant to safeguard the sacred knowledge until people were ready to accept it with love rather than fear. Now, a question is raised. Maybe the time for acceptance has finally come. The world today is in a precarious position, balanced between progress and potential disaster. With technology advancing rapidly, there is a gap between our knowledge and our ability to handle it. While machines become more advanced, our humanity seems to be fading. People are speaking up more loudly, leading to more intense arguments and a general increase in noise. However, beneath all of this chaos, there is a quiet, beautiful transformation occurring. Many people are starting to feel a sense of awakening and positivity spreading through their hearts. Many individuals are starting to think that life is about more than just the physical world. More people are starting to believe that faith involves more than just accepting things without proof. Many individuals are recognizing that life should involve more than just making it through each day. The reappearance of the secret gospel of Jesus may be happening now because humanity is rediscovering the importance of listening. The following part of this holy journey discusses the last section of the manuscript. It is thought to reveal the most powerful message of all. It is said to be a message written just before Jesus disappeared. This teaching is described as something that could not only change our perception of the divine, but also how we view reality. This truth doesn't guarantee an escape from the world, but instead promises to awaken the world itself. The last part of the confidential book is said to be the most mysterious and impressive section of the whole text. The writing seems to be smaller and done quickly or in secret. However, the words have a strong and weighty impact. People who have analyzed these lines say they are like a conversation between heaven and the heart. This part doesn't start with strict guidelines or teachings, but with a revelation. It talks about a type of ending that isn't an ending. It explains that it's the dream that dies, not the person dreaming. It reveals that a father and son are one consciousness taking on different appearances. It clarifies that when these different appearances realize their true identity, life's purpose is fulfilled. These concepts challenge traditional teachings that have been around for many years. This portrayal of Jesus focuses on awakening and recalling, rather than sin and punishment. It aims to remind, rather than control. Instead of asking for followers, it seeks to awaken hearts. The text uses imagery that is both expansive, like the universe, and intimate, like a heartbeat. It discusses the transformation of light into physical form and the blending of spirit with flesh. The manuscript talks about creation's timeless desire to remember its origins. The book explains that every star in the sky is like a prayer from the infinite trying to remember itself. It also suggests that every human heart is the response to that prayer. This is the profound mystery that is uncovered. The book emphasizes that creation is not disconnected from God, but rather God experiencing itself. The universe is portrayed as the living embodiment of the divine. Humanity is portrayed as the consciousness of that divine body, reflecting back on itself. This truth has been mentioned by mystics throughout history. Meister Eckhart spoke of seeing God through the same eye that God sees him. Jalal-ad-Din Rumi wrote that humans are not just a small part of something bigger, but contain the whole universe within themselves. The teachings of desert mystics also convey this truth that cannot be confined by rigid beliefs. It is a powerful truth that should not be hidden away. The revelation slowly unfolds into what the book refers to as the Great Remembering, which is a time in the future when humanity will forget about its divine beginnings. According to the book, people will be lost in the darkness that they have created. It predicts that individuals will start worshiping themselves and thinking it's the truth. The book warns that people will be afraid of silence, and that this fear will cause them to overlook the fact that silence is linked to God. Even in this caution, there is a hopeful message. It talks about a future time when a new light will emerge. This light will not come from the sky or fall from the clouds, but will come from within humanity. When the world is fed up with darkness, the book predicts that the children of the light will emerge. They will recall a word that cannot be voiced. The heavenly fire will be reignited in people's hearts. Some experts believe that this prediction is like a poem. Others view it as a clear glimpse into a new phase of human development, focusing on the spirit rather than the body. This concept is often linked to what spiritual individuals refer to as the second coming. This does not mean the literal return of one person, but the awakening of Christ-like awareness within numerous individuals. It suggests that the essence that was once limited to one individual now spreads to many lives, blossoming within them. The chance of this occurring seems both calming and strong. The idea that this essence, once noticed in one individual, can now inspire millions of hearts brings a feeling of peaceful amazement. Rediscovering this old text is seen as a symbol by many. It serves as a gentle reminder that the era of recollection is already underway. The text concludes in a manner that doesn't seem like a goodbye, but rather like the start of something new. The last words are barely there, almost as if the ink is disappearing and the paper is nearly finished. However, the message they convey is powerful and clear. They talk about a light that we yearn for and a light that is also searching for us. They urge us to move forward like the sun, to give without expecting anything in return, and to shine without being afraid. They depict a oneness where the spiritual and the human are not distinct, but rather one single essence of the everlasting. After those words, the page stops abruptly. The old parchment is damaged from age. There are no more words written. This seems appropriate. The last message is not just meant to be read, but also experienced, held in the heart, and shown through acts of kindness, awareness, and gentle awakening. If these teachings accurately represent what Jesus was trying to convey, then they are not demanding unquestioning faith. Instead, they call for personal experiences. They invite individuals to view themselves not as flawed sinners, but as creatures of light who have become oblivious within the material world. According to this perspective, salvation does not involve escaping from reality. It is about becoming aware within it. It is the understanding that paradise was never distant. It was always the consciousness that diminished when people disregarded their spiritual essence. Throughout history, mystics from various traditions have shared the belief that divinity resides within. The Gospel of Thomas, the writings of Jacoboam, Sufi poetry, and the Upanishads all convey this message. Instead of looking for divinity outside of ourselves, we should recognize that it dwells within us, patiently waiting to be acknowledged. The hidden book of Jesus transforms into more than just an old item. It acts as a reflection of the eternal light within each person. It offers an invitation rather than a command, allowing for potential without pressure. This leads to a single, beautiful question in our hearts. What should we do with this discovery? Should we let it be forgotten like dust in the desert? Or should we let it awaken something honest and gentle inside us? The fact that this message has endured for centuries through sand, secrecy, and silence may be the answer itself, suggesting that it arrived with a purpose, not by chance.